warm in here, but turn on the air. It should be cooling down pretty soon. So this side of the room is pretty sedated. You guys can chill. Is that what you're telling me? Yes. So maybe this will be a gentle restorative class instead of just gentle flow. Is that what you need a little bit of? I don't know what I need. Okay, I just show up. Well, I don't know what I need today either. So I'll be honest with you. You guys know I like being prepared, and I'm just not prepared today, and that's okay because that's life. And I went away over the weekend. I'll just tell you where I'm at right now. Some of you already heard about the car. So over the weekend, I went to Gethsemani Monastery, and it's a place 2.5 hours from here in Trappist, Kentucky. When I first moved to Franklin a number of years ago, there was actually a student in my gentle class who had gone with, I guess, a church group up there and was talking about how lovely it was. And I was like, wait, what? Where is this? And I have made it an annual trip. This is a silent retreat. This is a silent retreat. And it's an unstructured silent retreat, meaning that there's the meals are at certain times, and you get fed 3 meals a day, and you have a private room and you have a private bath, and then they'll give you the schedule of the monks going into the chapel to sing their prayers 7 times a day. So they'll ring the bell, and then you can go if you want to join or observe or participate. You can even sing with them. So I go every year, and this year was different than any other year I've ever been. Every year that I go, it always takes at least about 12 to 15 hours to finally get into the space of being in a silent retreat. Because we don't think about how much our bodies are running on adrenaline. We're constantly running on adrenaline. You came in at the perfect time. Yeah. Because we have schedules, and we have responsibilities, and we have this, that, and the other to accomplish. And come on in, there's a mat over here if you need one. Blocks here, bolster in this other corner. You can set up anywhere in the room. That's 2 blocks. 2 blocks. No, you're fine. Don't worry. I need. Yeah, I'll give you a bolster too. And so because we're, overstressed and running on adrenaline, to go into that kind of environment, like a monastic environment, it takes a little time to just settle in because you're not being bombarded with the noise, right? Or traffic or, kids or work, whatever. And when I finally got settled down over the weekend, I was finally getting into my groove, right? Of meditating, doing a little yoga, maybe a little reading, but I don't want to read too much because if you think about it, if you're doing a silent retreat and you're just reading or writing, it's just more words. So I don't want to fill it up with words. I'm trying to provide space, lessen the verbiage, whether it's internal or external, right? And it took a while, and then I did have my phone on, and I kept seeing my sister trying to call me, and I didn't answer. I sent her in a text saying, I'm on silent retreat, I can't talk. And I said, is everything okay? And she just started spewing all this stuff to me about my mom and my sisters and things that were going on. And Saturday was the full moon. And all of that triggered me and got me upset and emotional. And anyway, here I am at this silent retreat, thinking I'm going to get into my Zen zone. And then I get triggered by being drunk. Should have turned off my phone. I should have turned off my phone. Right. Lesson learned. Next time, I'm going to turn off my phone. But there was a talk that evening on Saturday night that you could go to with one of the monks. And so I went to the talk, and it was Father Carlos. And Father Carlos is actually the only monk I know there. He's the one that usually gives the talk. But last year when I went, he wasn't there because he was receiving cancer treatments. And I remember thinking the day before when I arrived, I'm like, I didn't see Carlos. Like, you know, when all the monks would gather, I'm like, he's missing. And I'm like, oh no, does he still have cancer? Is he in a hospital? Like, is he still alive? But can't really ask anybody. So I'm just like in that state of wonderment. So I was very elated to see Carlos was there and he was giving a talk. And he has the perfect way with storytelling and words, and because I'm not a religious person, but he has such a way with bringing in scripture that makes it more spiritual, more accessible for people, more digestible. It's easier to absorb. It's like, get it. And he's so non-judgmental and he's so all-embracing. And they're very interfaith there in a way, because Thomas Merton, a famous monk who wrote a lot of books, he created this bridge between his monastery and Thich Nhat Hanh and Dalai Lama, and he would travel to the East a lot. And so he was very well versed in Eastern philosophy as well. But anyway, his talk was so good. I'm just going to tell you one little example from his talk. And he was bringing up a real story. He goes, you know, we have all kinds of people coming to the monastery. Even men that are thinking about joining the monastic lifestyle will come and stay for a while. But it's not for everyone. He said a lot of people that come here are running away from something. They're running away from life. They're running away from stress. They're running away from fear or whatever. And he said, we get groups that are also AA and NA related. Now, something that I find extremely helpful about taking a silent retreat that a lot of people find to be the hardest part of all. I like being in a place where it's quiet. I like being in a place where it's more introspective, because then you can do what's called swadhyaya. And it's the piece of yogic philosophy that is about studying oneself. And yoga is all about this. Yoga is all about going inside, being introspective, learning, why do we think the way we think? Why do we act the way we act? Why do we feel the way we feel? What patterns have we developed that are good for us? And what patterns have we developed that are maybe bad for us? Maybe learning the patterns that we need to heal that have been passed on from generation to generation. And so really going into a silent retreat is like looking at yourself under a microscope. In fact, I tried to lead, back when I owned Halfmoon Yoga, I tried to do a silent retreat weekend down in Sewanee at the St. Mary's, and no one signed up. Not one person signed up. No one. And it got back to me that the word in the studio, people talking about it, was they thought it would be the most atrocious thing ever to experience. Why would they want to be in silence? And so I started developing, remember, little mini silent retreats at the studio. I would do like 4 hours, 5 hours, so that people could just get a little taste of it, so they wouldn't be as fearful about it. But it is hard to go inside and to realize what you're thinking, feeling, and how you're acting. You know, and it's shining a light on it. And then on top of that, full moon, really illuminating what that stuff is. But the story he shared about a man who'd come in through AA. He said this man had come in, and through the monk talk that they were holding, that the discussion came about what really changed you. What really brought you out of that addiction? What really turned the light switch on in your brain to know there was an issue, there was a problem, and you needed to change or else. And he said there was this one man who said it was his wife. He said he was a raging alcoholic. He was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive to his wife. The home life was so toxic, the children were taken out of the home. And he was still this raging alcoholic. Until one day he was sitting, and it wasn't like a big aha moment. He was literally sitting in his chair, drinking, watching TV, the typical everyday activity. And he looks over into the kitchen and he sees his wife cooking. The realization came in, this woman who I've taken advantage of, who I created a lot of harm to, is still by my side. She's still living in this house and she's cooking my meal right. And a feeling of unconditional love swept over him. And that was his moment of clarity. I have to change for her. I have to change for me. And that was his breakthrough moment. But Father Carlos went on to say, he guaranteed that 50% of the people in that room, there's probably 60 of us in that room, he said, I guarantee half of you have had a very profound mystical experience with the divine. And you may not talk about it. You may not even realize it. Or you're scared to talk about it because you're scared of the judgment from other people. He said, but when you have the presence of so much love, that is the presence of God, the presence of the divine. However form that comes, in whatever ways that comes, that love is representative of that. And then he brought in all these other stories in scripture to go with it. But anyway, that was the nugget that I took away over the weekend. So we're going to work into our bodies. We are going to start off restorative. You guys need it. I could use it too after that stress with my car. So let's start in a back bend. That's really going to open up the chest and help to open up the breath. So if you bring that bolster behind you and roll down onto it, let your arms kind of open out to the sides with your palms band open towards the heavens. And then I want you to do a few little adjustments with me and to determine what's going to be best. So the first adjustment I want you to make, and some of you are already there, is having your legs lined up where they're perfectly parallel to each other. And so there's just a slim space between them. And when you bring this action into the legs, pay attention to the response and the feel of your low back. This may be what's better for your SI joints. And if you're, yeah, this feels good, or this doesn't feel that great, maybe try separating your feet wider and letting the feet flop open and see how that feels in your low back. If that's better, then you can stay here. If you're still unsure and wanting to experiment a little bit, try bending the knees, flattening your feet, and doing a little scooping of the belly, a little tucking of the tailbone, and then come back in and see how that feels. And whichever one feels the best, remain. Now that you've determined what is better for the physical body, close your eyes. And begin to take the reins of your breath. Controlling the breath in such a way that you're lengthening and deepening your inhale, lengthening and slowing down your exhale. Noticing the swelling effects as your lungs inflate
And noticing how everything softens as the lungs deflate. So that's really all I want you to concentrate on right now. Is just centering and being with your breath. The breath is a great way to connect us back to our humanness, but also to that piece of divinity within us. Notice the effects the deepening of the breath has upon your nervous system. And depending on what type of mindset you came into the class with, will determine how long it takes for this medicinal treatment of the breath to take effect. Even doing restorative back bends can help to improve our posture. Back bends can bring more life force energy towards the heart, and not just the physical heart, but the spiritual aspect. Think about every inhale, bringing you closer to your heart and soul, and every exhale, allowing you to let go of the residuals of life, the stressors of life. So on your next in-breath, I want you to slide your feet closer to you, so everyone's knees are bent, but separate your feet as wide as the sticky mat. The inhale will have the knees turned upright like so, but as you exhale, let your knees rock over to your left. Drive the right thigh downward, and then inhale, lift the knees upward. Exhale, swish the knees to the right, and especially make your left thigh get heavy. Inhale, rock the knees back through the middle. Exhale, swish them over to the left, making the right leg heavier. Inhale, knees turn up, and exhale, roll them to the right. Good. Inhale, bring the knees back up. And then exhale, bring the left foot closer to the right so you can roll to the right side body long enough to move the bolster away to come right back down to your spine with your left knee bent and your right leg outstretched. So right leg straight, left knee bent. You're going to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, roll to the outer edge of the left foot. Inhale, return to the base of the left foot. And then exhale, roll to the outer edge of the foot. Inhale, lifting the left knee skyward. Exhale, spilling to the knife edge side of the foot. Doing that twice more. Just a simple opening of the left hip. And the next time you open the left hip, slide that foot to meet the right leg. Let's take a cleansing breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh out audibly through your mouth. Now bring your hands to rest on your abs. Internally focus on your breath. And then outwardly feel the rise of the belly, the fall of the belly. Nowadays, they talk about the gut being the second brain of the body. And yogis have known that if we do this deep diaphragmatic breathing, it's a way to calm and subdue the mind. And go ahead and affirm mentally within, I am calm, I am poised, calm and poised. On your next in breath, go ahead and turn the left knee back up and reach your arms overhead as though you're reaching towards the wall behind you. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the hands back around in front to pick up that left foot and to hug the left knee towards your chest. Now just maintain this simple hold. Noticing how much, or if anything, is really being held here in the hip. We tend to suppress emotion and shove it down into this region. Now, if you are really hugging the left knee in, loosen your grip, extend your left arm to your left side, and then send that bent knee across your midriff. So you're taking a spinal twist. You're attempting to keep the left shoulder grounded, however. So the more you carry the knee apart or across the body, if that left shoulder starts to lift, bring that knee back a bit so the shoulder can ground. It's being a little bit more conservative here with the twist. On your next breath, you're going to unroll from the twist on the exhale. Inhale, send your left leg straight out. And as you exhale, bend your right knee. Breathing in here. Exhale, rolling to the pinky side of the right foot. Inhale, landing back to the base of the foot. And then exhale, rolling to the outer edge of the foot. So do that several times, but in sync with your breath. And the next time it flops open, slide the foot over to meet your left leg. So now you're forming reclined tree pose. Bring your hands back to your abdomen. Breathe down into your belly. Firming inside. I am calm. Poised. I am calm and poised. Inhale, let's turn the right knee back up. And lengthen the arms overhead. Exhale, bring the arms back around and hug the right knee in towards your chest. Notice the difference between the two sides with this hold. Do you feel more or less congestion or restriction in one or the other? That self-study is what I was mentioning as part of Swadhyaya. Now loosen your grip on hugging it in. Send your right arm to your right side and then slowly send that knee across your midriff. Once you take that spinal twist, see if you could be a little bit more conservative, keeping that right shoulder grounded. And as you exhale, gently unwind from that twist. Stand on that left, or slide your left foot back to stand alongside your right foot. Roll to the right side, push down to your left palm and gently come all the way up. Felt good being on the floor for a bit. Now let's bring the soles of the feet together. And we're gonna rock the knees up and down. Not too aggressively, just slightly up and down. So we kind of prepared for this on our backs, but I want you to take your thumbs to meet the base knuckle of your toes and then open the feet out like a book. And notice how you get a little bit more external rotation from the hips. And then keep your back elongated and start to lean forward over the feet. So you're moving into this forward fold, deepening the stretch through the inner thighs. This is also good for bringing a lot of circulation back to the bladder, the reproductive organs. Affirming your hands and hold, secure in myself. I accept whatever is. Inhale, slowly come right back up. Bring your hands up underneath the knees, draw the knees together, separate the feet as wide as the mat. We're gonna go into some cat-cows. So bring the head and heart through the knees and allow them to gently widen. And then as you exhale, allow the knees to gently narrow as you straighten your arms and push into the shoulder blades. Inhale, let your shoulders draw back towards the spine as your chin and throat opens. And then as you exhale, let the chin tuck and open up the back of the neck. And then continue this work. Moving in sync with your breath. The last one. And then once you come out, bring your feet a little closer. Use your hands to help bring you into a squat position where the feet are apart, the knees are opening out, hands come to prayer. You need to sit on a block to make it restorative, that's okay. It's okay if the heels have to lift away from the ground. This pose is actually really good for the root chakra. Really good for grounding. Try to emphasize your out breath. And we're going to bring the hands to the floor. We're slowly going to start to straighten out the legs, but turn your toes to face the front of the room. So you're in a wide stance forward fold. But I want you to cross your elbows. And once you kind of cross your arms here, just be here for a moment, distributing your weight evenly between your feet, dangling right down the middle. We're going to do some semicircles in just a moment. Let the crossing of the arms make the upper body slightly heavier. It'll open up the back of the legs. Open up a little bit more space in the lower part of the back that typically gets more fusion. Now let the hands settle down and you're going to sweep over toward the left leg. And then you're casually going to sweep over towards your right leg. Just very gentle sweeping to one. Sweeping to the other. And then back through the middle. All right, bend your knees and bring your elbows to stack on top of your thighs. And your hands can come together. This is bear pose. It'll strengthen the ankles. It helps to strengthen the quads, especially the longer we sustain it. Hold it for 2 more breaths. And then pressurize the feet and slowly build yourself up to stand, walking the feet more together or coming closer towards the top of the mat. And then once you have your feet solidified to the ground, look back behind you. If you have anything that is a tripping hazard, move it out of the way because we're going to be stepping back in just a moment. And then once that mat's clear, just spread out your toes, condition your feet back down, line up your legs, zip up through your midriff, and then take your arms all the way up. Good. As you exhale, bring your palms together and try to fold with straight legs unless you already know physically it's better for you to bend your knees. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lengthen out through the vertebrae, and then as you exhale, gently release back down. Now you may want your blocks beside your feet for this. We're going to step the left foot back. And when we step the left foot back, you can be on fist or palms, but you're lunging that front knee, getting it stabilized right over the ankle. And we're slowly going to lower the left knee.
slowly, slowly, so that we feel it on the way down. All right, once you lower the back knee, untuck the back foot, push through the right foot, fly the arms up overhead. So you're drawing up to the pelvic floor with that root lock. Good. As you exhale, you're going to wing your arms, opening the gate of the heart, and you're going to sink into your hips. And then inhale, press through the right foot, lift up to the pelvic floor, have your palms facing each other. Exhale, dip back into the hips and splay the arms open, maybe gaze up. One more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bring your hands back down to the blocks. Walk the blocks back. Flip the toes up, and you're residing on your right. Lengthen out that front leg. Lengthen out through the heart center. And I'm already feeling it here. But you can fold if your flexibility allows. So even though I'm feeling it here, my flexibility does allow me to come here. But I'm actually feeling really good backing back up to where I was. So just because you can always lower to a different level, check out the different levels along the way. You may find there's something else needed or required today. Again, that's the self-study. Our practice should change daily and over time and through different seasons of our lives. But I want you to consider something here in Hanumanasana, because the story, the mythological story that backs up this pose, or where this pose stems from, is about Hanuman leaping from one landmass across the ocean to another. It's about taking a leap of faith. And this is a leap year. And I've talked about the astrology and the numerology for 2024. And I've mentioned even the Chinese New Year being the wood dragon. This is a year for taking action. So maybe think for a moment, what's the leap that you want to take? Inhale, let's come forward again into that lunge. You may want to stand the blocks up taller because we're going to curl the back toes. We're going to pluck up that back knee. And I'm going to stay on the ball of the back foot for crescent, but if you need warrior one, you can plant the back foot. We're bringing the arms up to frame the face. Find your sturdiness, your stability, and that helps when you gaze at one spot in front of you. And then from the crescent, is it possible, just check in to see, can you lace up your hands to this Jupiter mudra? And can you firm the shoulders up towards your ears? And can you hug your head with your arms? If that's too much, leave it out. Exhale, let your arms splay. Bringing the hands to the hips, and we're slowly coming back down. Slow, slow, slow. Until gravity just says, come on down. And then bring your right knee back to join your back. Awesome, move the blocks out of the way. Stack onto hands and knees, but have your hands a hand grip beyond your shoulders so that you can curl your toes and pop up like a tent, downward facing dog. Pressing to the hands and the feet, and really flying high through your seats. Let your head bow between the arms, casually glance at that space between the big toes. Deep sips of breath. Allowing calmness to radiate inside. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, come down to your knees. Untuck your feet. Rock your hips forward. Create a back bend. And then exhale. Push back into extended child's pose, keeping your hands super glued to the mat, elbows falling away from the ground. The head may or may not want to cover, that's okay. So anytime we're stretching the arms, we're in essence working into the heart as well. The arms are extensions or wings of the heart. Let's rock up hands and knees. Let's exhale, take downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, meditationally start to travel the feet, 1 foot at a time, stepping, all the way up until you're at the top of the mat, folding, hinging from your hips into Uttanasana. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, drop back in. Inhale, come all the way to stand, arms reaching up. And then exhale, dive right back in. In, halfway up. Out and lower down. Bring the blocks in if you wish to use them. And this time we're stepping the right foot back. Keeping that front knee lunging, aligning it over the ankle. Instead of just kind of dumping over, let your heart shine through, let your neck be long. Good. And then as you exhale, slowly start to land the knee. Slowly. Those that joined me online for my yin class, I made them go way, way slower than this last week. Whew. Untuck the foot, push down through the left, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Yes, please add in padding for your back knee if you need it. Exhale, sink the hips, expand your chest. Inhale, coming up, re-erecting the spine, fingertips rising, and then exhale, winged arms, open heart, open hips. Last one, inhale. Good, exhale. Inhaling up. Exhale, hands down. Perfect. Now, flip that left foot, reside on the left heel. Half Hanumanasana. So on this side, I do feel more compelled to lower. Previous side, I could do it, but I didn't want to do it. So always checking in with your body. This is the true yoga. Bring in the affirmation by inviting the stream of thought into your mind. I choose to dwell within infinite possibilities. Believing in yourself and believing in whatever leap you want to take. Then when you're ready, rock back onto the sole of the left foot. You may want to build the blocks up higher because we're going to curl the back toes. We're lifting that knee off the ground again. Now, again, if you need to turn and plant your back foot for warrior one, that's fine. Otherwise, you can challenge your balance, coming into crescents. And then once you find your balance here, shrugging up the shoulders, lacing up your hands into this mudra. Makes it a little bit more fiery. Exhale, fan your arms out, bring your hands to your hips. And we're gonna lower, 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 lower. And drop the back knee. Untuck the back toes, push into the blocks, bring that left knee back to join. Step the blocks to the sides. Replace your hands to the floor, just beyond the shoulders to curl the toes, to lift up again to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep yogic breaths. Deep breath in.
Deep breath out, spill to the knees, untuck the feet, rock the hips forward, open up the heart, and then exhale. Lean it on back. Balasana. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, return to downward facing dog. We're gonna end these sun salutations by traveling the feet forward like we did that earlier one. Spilling down into the full forward fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And then exhale, bringing hands to the hearts. All right, so we're gonna start from here, lifting the arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Grab those blocks, set them beside your feet, and you're gonna step your right foot back and plant the foot, floating your hands up for Purvottanasana. So back when I first started to teach yoga, all the rules were so stringent, right? Heel to the arch of the back foot, and then it's like you're on a tightrope and you're trying to find your balance. And then finally, some major teachers were like, hey, if your balance is off, step your back foot over, create a wider stance. Oh, so much better, right? So figure out where your feet placement need to be for you to not only square your hips, for you to maintain balance. And that's so important. And then take your arms behind you, lift up your chest, and then slowly start to extend your vertebrae, but lean out over the front leg, slightly turning your right shoulder and your navel over towards your left knee. So don't overdo it, right? So don't start turning your neck to look one way. Keep your neck in line with your spine. It's subtle, but it's going to create an evenness with your shoulders, like we were creating evenness with the hips. Good adjustments, you guys. You're feeling it from the inside. Feel as though you're tucking the left hip towards you at the same time, instead of allowing it to swing out. Now really push down through the front foot. Come out of that pyramid pose. And then release your arms from behind your back. Bring them up over the crown of your head, but then fan the fingers open except for your thumbs and pinky fingers. And then I want you to ever so slightly bend your left knee. It's not a really deep lunge, it's yes, just like that. And then you're gonna tuck the tailbone and you're gonna puff up your chest. So it's what's called a standing backward bend. The only thing different, we're bringing in this mudra over the crown. I want you to remember that the symbol of the crown chakra is 1,000-petaled lotus. And the petals moving upward are about spiritual evolution, enlightening moments. And the petals that turn down represent the divine nectar coming down into your psyche, the nourishment coming down into your body, those aha moments. Those moments of epiphanies, insights, revelations, as you receive downloads. Inhale, straighten the front leg, release your arms. Good, step the back foot forward. All right, we're gonna do that to the other side, hands to prayer. Inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward and down. Feel free to use those blocks to start with. Step the left foot back, and it's not way back. It's back enough. Plant that foot, float your hands, Check out your stance. And if you're feeling even a little bit wobbly, create a wider stance. Square your hips. Good. Lace up your arms behind your back the opposite way. So if it feels the same, most likely it is the same. So switch it up. Lean back. Now, when you lean back, do you feel the extra weight in your left foot? Okay, keep it there. So lock that left thigh back, plug that left foot down. At the same time, you're lowering, slightly tilting your heart and navel towards the right knee this time. And instead of allowing the right hip to swing way out towards the front door, you're gonna squeeze and tuck the right hip in towards yourself, towards the center of your legs. Good, keep breathing. I'm gonna affirm here. Give myself over to the flow of grace. Now, accelerate with your right foot. Push into the front foot to build yourself back up to stand. Release your arms from behind you. Bring the hands overhead. Create that lotus mudra. Bending the right knee slightly. Tucking the tailbone and then lifting your chest up. Standing backward bend. Different than warrior. This pose stems from Ananda Yoga. And the affirmation for this pose, I am free. I am free. Now straighten the front leg. Let your arms release. Good, you can lunge the knee. You can use your props to bring it on down to the floor. Take your time. We're gonna swing the legs out in front of us. And then when you do, lower down to your back, have a block in your hand. Tuck and lift away from the floor and slide the block under your sacrum. Keep your right knee bent once you get aligned. And see if you can straighten out your left leg. If that hurts your hip or low back, rebend the knee. Now see if you can bring your arms into the goddess arms or winged arms, what we did earlier in that half lunge. Notice how that changes up what you're receiving. Just as a reminder of that Rumi quote from last week, love is a bridge between you and everything. Even looking at that example Father Carlos mentioned about the alcoholic, right? We had a moment of realization. And it was all because of love, the love that he was experiencing. It was his wife's love that led him to recovery, to reclaim his life, to reclaim his health. And I'm sure to reclaim his family. Let's bend the left knee. And let's see if it works out to straighten the right leg. As you deepen the flow of the breath, can you even feel how that deep inhalation can deepen the stretch in the front part of the hips? Let's walk the right foot back. Now both knees are bent. Bring your arms out of the wing position back beside you so that when you tuck and lift away from the block, you can roll down to the floor. And we're going to cradle both knees into the belly and chest. Apanasana, the wind release pose. And stack your hands on top of your knees and start to circle them around one direction. And then the opposite direction. And then roll completely to your right side. So I want us to set up the block side by side on their lowest height in front of you. And then the bolster, you're going to angle it this way. So that when you come to recline, your legs can drape over. And it's a little bit of a deeper bend for the knees versus the bolster being flat. It's a little less than if you were doing Stonehenge. So this is kind of like in between. I just laughed at Chrissy because she gave a big sign, just a big smile came across her face. If you by chance grabbed a towel, you can cover and shield your eyes. Free to use your blanket as a pillow or a covering. I'm going to give you an opportunity to experience silence. So whenever your mind begins to chatter, come back to your breath. Utilize an affirmation. Or use just one of your senses to return, to refocus, to drop back in, and to increase that silence between any percolating thoughts. Begin to be in the flow of our breath. As you build the capacity back up, I would suggest bringing a little gentle movement to your hands and feet. Perhaps stretching the arms towards the back wall. And then hugging the knees in. Rolling away to one side. Sitting attentively. Hopefully feeling positive difference now at the end of our practice. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Recall a moment in which you felt so much profound or unconditional love. It changed your perception somehow. Then imagine if we could do this with ourselves, just as others may have demonstrated it to us. Whether or not we are capable of providing that for others. That is part of living our yoga. So please take this with you beyond the mat today. The light and the love that I hold within my heart bows humbly and respectfully to the love and the light you hold within yours. Namaste. I'm wanting to say I may have a workshop. Okay. I don't even know. I'm kind of thinking so. I have a restorative Reiki coming up in March. Isn't this like the tail end of February? It is. Is it a week?
Yeah, this is.
It's this week, right?
Yeah.
It's funny how January goes by so slowly and all of a sudden almost.
February, I know.
Because I felt like January.
January was
the
a-
longest month.
It was a slow one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like,
And now
Full
it's
speed
like,
ahead.
oh, it's March. Okay.